Opening credits. Ava and Carol Detective Agency, The Haunted Mansion. Written by Thomas Lockhaven, with Emily Chase. Edited by Dave Aretha. Narrated by Amy Johnson. Chapter 5. The Lair.
"We actually have two mysteries," said Ava as she grabbed a piping hot sausage pizza from the microwave. The girls had turned Ava's basement into a crime-solving think tank called The Lair. Using some of the award money from the Hancock Museum of Archaeology, the girls had created a state-of-the-art crime lab. A laptop and printer sat perched on a desk at one end of the room, with an old couch in the middle of the room that faced a huge standalone magnetic whiteboard. The far end of the room had a small kitchenette, and beyond the whiteboard on the back wall was a table with a microscope and chemistry set, a gift from Ava's dad, a prominent biologist. Carol was hunched over the laptop. A moment later, the printer began whirring.
"Here they come,"
said Carol.
"The pictures we took at the bank. So, what were you saying about two mysteries?"
"Well, before our walk yesterday was rudely interrupted by the bank robbery, you said that you thought the headless monster was Ethan or one of his friends."
"Yes,"
recalled Carol. "Well, we know that Ethan can be immature, but in the end, he would never do anything to actually hurt us. Think about it. Whoever was dressed up as the headless monster, the way he grabbed at us, the way he yanked your beautiful face into the tree and then kept chasing us, Ethan would have never done that."
Carol nodded.
"Yeah, you're right."
The thought actually made her shudder.
"So, who do you think it is?"
"I'm not sure," said Ava. "All of this seems strange. The butcher house, and then the bank."
"Do you think they're connected?"
"Your guess is as good as mine, but I have an idea that might help us find out."
"I'm all ears,"
said Carol.
"Fire away."
"I'll be right back."
Ava disappeared through the doorway and up the stairs, while Carol attached the pictures from the bank onto the whiteboard. She dated the pictures and then wrote a brief description beneath each one. On the far right of the board, she wrote the word suspects and underlined it twice. She stood staring at the whiteboard. They really didn't have any suspects. Ava popped into the room holding a camouflaged rectangular device with an antenna.
"I'm afraid to ask,"
said Carol, eyeing the device in Ava's hand.
"This," began Ava proudly, "is a wireless trail camera. Remember Kevin had them to watch woodland creatures? Dad uses his for work."
"Cool. And this is gonna help us how?"
"This bad boy has a motion detector and can see in the dark. If there's any type of movement, it will snap a picture. It also has a live video feed, meaning we can eat pizza and spy on the butcher house at the same time."
"And you plan on putting this?"
"We plan on putting this on a tree, facing the butcher house. If there's anything suspicious going on, we'll see it. Safe in our secret hideout."
"I'm impressed,"
said Carol, smiling.
"You keep coming up with ideas like that, and I may keep you on the payroll."
Chapter 6. Operation Night Stalker. The moon shone so brightly, it looked like a train barreling down from the heavens toward the girls. As Ava and Carol walked down the sidewalk, Ava could see the lights from TVs glowing from living rooms, and families in kitchens preparing for dinner. Ava had grabbed her dad's Thor 2000 flashlight in case the headless guy appeared again. The Thor 2000 would temporarily blind anyone who was unfortunate enough to be on its receiving end, which seemed like a brilliant idea at first, but then she remembered he was headless and didn't have eyes. The girls paused when they reached Whitmore Street. In the distance, they could see the butcher house. Carol shivered, her finger unconsciously touching the bruise on her cheek.
"Okay," said Ava. "We need to find a tree within 100 feet of the house that gives us the view we need."
Carol's eyes traveled from the house to a small clump of trees. It was perfect. The trees stood on a small hill that looked directly down toward the house.
Right there,
said Carol, pointing.
It's our best vantage spot.
"All right," said Ava. "Let's do this."
The girls ran between two houses, clambered over a fence, and then crouch ran to the cluster of trees. They sat quietly in the shadows, listening for any movement. Carol unzipped her jacket and pulled out a pair of binoculars. Carol stared through her binoculars at the house for what seemed like an eternity.
"Well?"
prompted Ava.
"See anything?"
"Nothing. It's completely dark."
"Okay,"
whispered Ava.
"I'm gonna set up the camera."
Carol nodded.
"I'll keep an eye out."
Ava crawled on her hands and knees to the front of the cluster of trees. She sat with her back to the tree as she unzipped her backpack and pulled out the camera. The camera had small straps that allowed her to secure it to the tree. Ava switched the camera to the on position, waited for the green light to come on, and then crawled back to Carol. Ava crouched beside Carol and pulled out her phone. She typed in the IP address assigned to the camera into her browser, and instantly the butcher house came into view.
"Whoa,"
whispered Carol.
"That is freaking awesome. It's like perfectly clear."
"I know,"
whispered Ava.
"I had no idea it would work this well."
She was afraid that it would turn out to be a grainy disappointment, but the image was clear and crisp.
"Let's get back to the lair before my parents realize we're missing."
Video surveillance turned out to be incredibly boring. Carol had hooked an HDMI cable from the laptop to their TV so they could watch the house, but aside from the occasional car or neighbor walking a dog, nothing out of the ordinary happened. Ava jolted awake. What was that? She thought, sitting upright on the couch. She and Carol had fallen asleep on the couch watching the butcher house. A half-filled bag of microwave popcorn had spilled all over them. Ava's reaction startled Carol awake as well, and her eyes froze on the TV.
"Ava, look,"
said Carol, jabbing her index finger toward the screen. Ava's eyes grew wide. The headless monster had their camera. The girls watched in horror as the camera rotated, and they saw themselves on the television screen. They jumped from the sofa and looked around the room, confused. "How are we on the—"
"There!"
screamed Carol, pointing to the window at the back of the room. Ava clawed at the light switch. "Get down!" she whispered. Ava and Carol crawled to the other side of the couch. They could see the dark shadow of the headless man outside the window. Suddenly, a chilling voice came from the TV, filling the room.
"This is your last warning," it growled. "Accidents do happen."
There was a thud as the creature dropped the camera. The girls stared at the TV as the camera slowly sank into the snow. They listened to the crunching of his footsteps as he disappeared into the darkness.
"I really do not like that guy," Ava muttered.
Carol shook her head, still trembling.
"At least he brought back the camera."
If you're enjoying Thomas Lockhaven's audiobook content, please like and subscribe. It's the best way to help out the channel.